This is the last of our report back for this year, and I just want to explain to you some of the things that we have been up to over the last few weeks. I had a delegation of 50 SMEs and community groups from across the 32 counties of Ireland, and we were explaining to them about the funding opportunities that are available here, and we want to maximise those opportunities and get them to draw down more EU funding. Tomorrow in the Parliament we will be voting on Palestine State, and that's going to be a crucial vote. Hopefully we will get a joint resolution that's going to be acceptable to us all. We are still working on that as we speak, and we will know by the end of play today whether that is the case or not. And what we are looking for is the international obligation that has been there for many, many years for the Palestine to be recognised as a state, as has been recognised by 135 countries. And we hope after the vote tomorrow that the Irish government will then confirm that it is going to afford the recognition to Palestine as was agreed in the debate in Leinster House during the week. Finally, we are also going to be debating tomorrow the CIA torture files that were revealed in America. And it's interesting to note that the Bush administration and the Israelis and other governments had used the fact that despite the Irish government taking the British government to the European Court of Human Rights on what was called the Hooded Men case, which was to expose the fact that the 5 techniques that the British government used were in fact torture, the European Court ruled that they were not torture but inhumane and degrading treatment, and therefore because of that ruling the US administration and the Israelis and others used those 5 techniques in Iraq, Afghanistan, Guantanamo Bay and also in Palestine. And what we have discovered through the Pat Finucane Centre is that the British government lied to the European Court of Human Rights, something that we are not surprised about, and that the Irish government is now sending back that case to the European Court, and you can see the ramifications of that ruling was widespread. I am now going to pass you over to Matt, and he will give you a synopsis of what he's been doing.
Well, to deal with one issue specifically, over the past month, I and my office have been working on a TTIP document. This is our contribution to the huge debate that's ongoing across Europe and the United States in relation to the transatlantic trade and investment partnership. This could have serious ramifications for countries like Ireland, and particularly for sectors such as our agriculture sector, but could also impact on workers' rights, the environment and many other areas. The reason why we have such concerns regarding TTIP is that it could fundamentally undermine the democracy of our country and of the European Union as a whole. It could allow, if it goes along the stated route of the European Commission, allow a system whereby companies can take democratic governments to court, to a trans and supranational court, and enforce them to overturn or to reverse some progressive policy initiatives. So our hope is to ensure that Irish people are engaged in this debate, that sectors such as our agricultural community are aware of the implications, and very importantly that the Irish government take a proactive position in standing up for Irish interests, because up until this point they have been very much taking a backseat. They have almost been asleep at the wheel and allowing the European Commission to dictate the terms of these negotiations, and we in Sinn Féin will not allow that to continue. I'll pass you on to Lynn.
I suppose I'd like to start, first of all, just on behalf of the Sinn Féin team, just to congratulate Emily O'Reilly, who's been reappointed as the European Ombudsman. And I suppose Sinn Féin were influential in that we had endorsed her at the very start of that campaign. In terms of the work I've been doing, well, I've been working on the Convention on the Illegal Trade in Animals and Plants. And I suppose I spoke today in the Parliament on that, but really the main point I was pointing out is why it's welcome that the European Parliament should play a role in this barbaric trade. They also can't ignore the fact that they facilitate multinational corporations to not pay their taxes in developing countries, and when developing countries are in extreme poverty, then it lends itself to this illegal trade. So they need coherent policies. They can't do, with one hand, a framework to prevent illegal trade, but while on the other hand facilitate the increasing poverty in these developing countries. I also attended a water conference by the public providers of water supplies across the European Union, looking at the Right to Water campaign again, how water can be provided to people that's affordable and accessible. And it was interesting that at that conference, the policy advisor on behalf of the European Commission made reference to the Irish case and said that the Irish don't understand that they need to pay for water. What he didn't know was that I was in the room at the time. So I challenged him on this, and I pointed out the fact that the Irish are very much aware of the fact that they pay for water, which is why they're out in their tens and thousands for the last 3 months protesting against this unfair double taxation on the people. So he was quick to rein in his antlers on that comment. So I suppose that's pretty much it for the moment, and I'll pass you over to Liadh.
Okay, so this week it's been all about fishing and budgets for me, and as well as Veheturt, Riada, Kursi, Tonga and Shaw. We seem to be getting quite good support from the other MEPs in terms of lifting the derogation on the Irish language, so I hope in 2015 that we're going to have some movement on that. Tomorrow there's going to be a vote on the budget for 2015, and this is going to have a direct impact on Ireland. We're going to be voting against it because of the negative cuts that it's going to have. For instance, in the fishing area, 908 million is coming out of the EU budget, which is going to have a direct impact on our already crippled fishing industry at home. I hope as well in February to be bringing over a fishing delegation because we need to be discussing those penalty points. All you fishermen and women out there know what I'm talking about. And also the fishing quotas are being discussed this week by the Council, so we're not very hopeful on how that's going to turn out, but we'll keep fighting away anyway for the rights of our fishermen and women in Ireland. And so really, I suppose all that's left for us to say is I know that we're all ready for a good Christmas break, and I hope that Daddy Nanolo comes to visit every one of you and that you're all on the good list. So Shinea Cholaka Habemida Kaintlev Galua, Avlian Favasha.